Hi, welcome to Working Women. I'm Fanny from Creatives at Work. While running Creatives at Work, we have met many amazing women. We hope to share inspiring stories about how female executives, entrepreneurs, and freelancers from Singapore are taking charge and building successful careers. So today we are talking to Tracy. So Tracy, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy, originally from Hong Kong, but I just moved to Singapore in January this year to study my MBA program here. So thank you for having me, Fanny. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really happy to be sort of starting a new chapter of my life in Singapore in general, making a lot of new friends, and obviously quite a strange time to actually start being a student again. But I'm loving every moment of it.
So when you're in Hong Kong, you're in the film industry, right?
Yes. So I was working as a personal assistant for Stephen Chow. So I'm sure a lot of you sort of have watched his movies. I basically watched his movie, growing up with his movies, and you always sort of see his movie like on TV, like on repeat, basically, especially like Chinese New Year.
Chinese New Year,
you always see his movies, and he's such a big inspiration, and I've learned so much valuable experience working, for him. So it was great.
How did you first went into the industry? Was it like a childhood dream to always enter the film industry?
Actually, no. To be honest, I've never really planned my career per se. I think a lot of my career path just sort of happens organically for some reason. So before I sort of jumped into the chance of working for Stephen, I was actually working at Sotheby's. So it's the auction house in international auction house. So they have an office in Hong Kong, and it just so happened that I sort of get to know his then assistant, who is actually planning a retirement. So she was looking for somebody who can really sort of take on the role and be really responsible. And so she sort of got to know me, and that's sort of how I sort of got the job. And then she happily retired, and then I just become...
But you got thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, so it was a risk for myself, actually. When I took it, I wasn't really quite sure what to expect, because I never worked into the movie industry before. But I've always had a great passion with the creative industry. I actually did a bit of window dressing, the window merchandising. Yeah. So I did a bit of that when I was in the UK, actually. So I always liked the creative side of things, and I'm such a big fan of movies. I watch a lot of movies, and then never been a personal assistant before, so I thought, hey, why not? And you can learn from one of the most talented person, probably in Asia. So so that's sort of, I just took a leap of faith and just...
How long were you in that role for?
I was there for about 6.5 years. Yeah, so it was quite a long time. And then I mean, to be honest, it wasn't because I really wanted to sort of, as a personal growth, I always wanted to do something more. I always wanted to get back to education. So it just so happened that I thought it was sort of about time for me to sort of start a different chapter in my life. So I wanted to take a year off and just sort of like be a student again. And it was just so lucky that I've, got enrolled at Singapore Management University. And so here I am.
So a lot of our viewers are actually freelancers in the media industry. So, I mean, one of the questions that female freelancers may have, I mean, I know that I have, is you walk into a film set, majority are guys.
Yeah.
So how do you make your presence felt, and how do you make sure that you work together with them?
So to be honest, I My role is more of because for film production, I involve less, but I have visited, when Mr. Chow is filming Mermaid and other movies, I have visited film sets and things like that. And also, I've always helped him to arrange script meetings. And like you said, it's very sort of male dominant industry in general. But I feel like because it's nice to actually have a sort of like a softer female touch because you sort of add in different values. And I was actually involved with one of the project that it's not actually happening, well, it's happening now. It's in production, but it's you will probably hopefully see in 2 years' time. But but I was actually involved with that project for about 5 years, and the negotiation was literally a 5 years long negotiation. And like you said, it was a lot of male sort of senior executives involved with that, and also there was also different cultures as well. So I thought that was interesting for me. I got into it, and I sort of see what are the sort of missing links. You kind of, it's like a puzzle. I think everything that you do, even within production or negotiating a project, you're trying to fit all the puzzles together, and then you try to find a missing link, and you're also trying to really listen. I think one of the key things that I've learned, working for Mr. Chow is always listen. I think people forget how important it is. Actually, listening skill is so much more important than, expressing, your ideas. Expressing ideas is a lot of people have different ideas, especially if you worked in the creative field. I mean, that's why people are working in the creative field, because they have so many different ideas. But I think the one thing that people need to focus on actually is in order to be collaborative and actually bring the whole team together and actually achieve the best result is by listening and taking all these different ideas and you kind of you kind of work alongside with each other, really listen, and then you will create something great.
So listening is one of the most important skill you have.
I have learned. Yeah.
Are there any skills, in the past 6.5 years working with him?
Yeah, for sure. I think I think it's one of the things that I said is also working with, because it's quite a male-dominant industry. I think sometimes your voice can get sort of lost in a lot of communication. For what I've learned is that be persistent. And if you really believe in something, don't take no for an answer. Always ask why. Don't just say, if someone, this is something that I've learned as well, the hard way. I think I've also I've always can I do this? Like we all have this mental chatter in our head, sort of like the self-doubt and like, can we really do this? Like, do I really believe in this? So I think sometimes for me is that try to really listen to what you believe in. And if someone said no, like this is we can't do this, blah 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 blah. We always have to prepare that yes, we will get rejection. That's just part of life, and it's the process of getting to where you want to be. But I think that it's very important that you focus and ask why. Why does the other person doesn't think that this would work? Try to listen to their feedback. I think listening to other feedbacks is very important. Sorry, coming back to the listening part. But I think, be persistent, always ask why, and find out what you can learn from it. So yes, okay, maybe this time your proposal didn't work. I think I had a lot of times where I proposed something to Mr. Chow and he's like, no, I don't think it's going to work. That's fine. but you need to be able to learn something out of it. Like, why is
What
it?
is
Because
why?
for you to learn something from that person is very valuable. This time, yes, maybe your proposal doesn't work, but if you learn from that person, then next time you'll be able to actually improve how you present your proposal or the way you think.
Yeah. So I guess when you were working as a personal assistant, you co-share your time with Mr. Chow, I'm sure, as a personal assistant. Do you have any time management tips or any tips to improve your productivity?
Yes, I think when I was working for Mr. Chow, because it was, you kind of sort of, you don't really have your private time anymore in a way. Because,
6.5 years, that's a long time.
Yeah. But he is very reasonable as well. Like whenever I wanted to take a long break or a long holiday, he's usually very he's always like, no problem, like go on for your break, have a good time, But I think for me, I've always, like I said, I wish I have taken on meditation a lot earlier. Because I actually think that the more meditation you do, so I've been doing meditation for about just 2 months actually, but I've already sort of noticed the difference in terms of productivity and time management. I think because a lot of time what we don't realize is that we have a lot of things in our head. We always have, like I said, I have a list of to-do list for today, but usually not just for today, but we always plan ahead, right? So we probably have a to-do list for like the rest of the month or sometime for the rest of the year, like especially I can't even imagine if I'm a parent, then I think I probably have many to-do lists because for the kids and
husband.
And the husband, So I think one thing that we have to always bear in mind is that yes, women especially, we do wear a lot of hats, different hats, but I think what is important is that we always need to stay focused and always focus on what is happening right now. So instead of, I used to drive myself crazy because I have this to-do list for myself and for Mr. Chow for the day. And so I usually, and also I have an assistant as well. So I also have a separate to-do list for her. So for me, it's like I have several to-do lists but I feel like sometimes it can get really overwhelming. And that's how you actually produce less. You actually, your productivity goes down because you're trying to struggle too many things at once. So I've been telling myself ever since I started meditation, I think it really helped me to focus on the task on hand instead of, because I used to do it a lot. I'm sure a lot of you can resonate with me. You're doing this right now. Say I'm writing my essay and the deadline is like, next week or something. But while I'm writing the essay, my mind will go thinking something else. Oh, wait, but what's for tonight? Like I need to know, wait, tonight I have this meeting with professor and my classmate. Oh, wait, have I done that yet? Have I done enough? Like, is there something missing? It's always that worry that in the back of your mind that something else you need to do. So I think that's actually make you less productive because you're not actually focusing on the task. If you're not focusing on the task that you're doing right now, how are you going to finish that and move on to the next one? So I think for me, meditation really try to like slower your pace and actually, even though it's lowering your pace, but actually it's actually increasing your productivity in a weird way because you're actually focusing on what you're doing right now instead of running 100 miles per hour. So that's what I've learned.
But you still have a to-do list.
Yeah, I still have a to-do list. Yeah, but then I make sure that I focus on like, if this is task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I make sure that I finish 1 first before I worry about 2 and 3 and 4. So but I also do the meditation at night just before I go to sleep. So then you can wind down your mind a little bit. And I found that my sleep quality is a lot better and my mind is a lot more clearer because I don't have so much worries and also have to think about this and that and that. So I focus more on what is happening now instead of like, okay, I need to worry about what's happening next week or next month or, which is actually something that I think will resonate with a lot of people right now because of COVID, right? So then your mind always sort of said, oh, but you should worry about this, we should worry about this, we should. But then a lot of the time it's like, but right now at this moment, there's nothing to worry about. You just have to focus on what you need to do right now. Focus on your task and things will just fall gradually.
So what are your future plans? Any plan to step back into the film industry?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's what my passion is. So hopefully after I finish the MBA program, I hopefully then I'll be able to get a job with in Singapore, especially. I know there's a several media company in Singapore and there's a lot of international movie studio here as well. So, but I haven't actually really planned it yet. Like I said, I just really wanted to enjoy this whole year of being a student and, making new friends and learn as much as I can because actually the reason why I moved here and studied this program is because I also felt like there's a lot of things that I need to sort of skill up because I feel like we're living in such a different world. Everything is changing every day, especially with AI technology and all this technology that is happening. To be honest, I'm not even really on social media that much. So for me to I need to learn a lot. I feel like there's a lot to learn and I'm just absorbing like a sponge. I feel like this is just a great time for me to learn from my professor and my classmate because a lot of them are like a lot younger than me. So like they're all very like digital savvy and so they always like teach me things and like you have fun, they're always like telling me to try this app and try this app. So so I'm just like really enjoying it. But hopefully, yes, eventually I will get back to the movie industry.
So, what do you think is the impact of the pandemic on the creative industry as a whole? And how do you think, we can rise?
Sure. I think, obviously, we all know that the pandemic has hit the creative industry quite hard. So I think as we all know, as many production has been put on hold and a lot of people are really affected by it. But I think, luckily Singapore, I think the government obviously is really trying their best to especially, look after all the local workforce. I think this is something that I think Singapore government is really brilliant at. And, I know there's like skill futures and your company, but actually I think your company is doing great work for all the freelancers as well at this difficult time. So I think, local creative talents can focus more on exploring freelancing opportunities and making the most of it by building their own portfolio and using this challenging time actually to reach out more, build your connection. I think, you never know, I think connection is one of the most important thing, especially when you're freelancers, right? So I think use this time, focus on what you can do. There's always different perspective of looking at things. Yes, no doubt we're living in such a challenging time and everyone is still sort of probably trying to survive this difficult time. But I think there are always silver lining, you just always have to focus on what you can do to improve yourself. Use this time to learn new skills or, or listen to podcasts from creative at work, and I think, I think there's one old saying, right? That, opportunities are always there for the ones who are prepared. So I think use this time to really upskill yourself, learn as much as you can, and also build up your networks. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, if you need help, or if you really want to learn something in this particular area but you don't know where to start, ask, you know, look online, and yeah, just learn as much as you can, grow as much as you can. And when all this is over, when the right opportunity comes, you will be ready for it.
After working, you know, for the most successful man in Asia for about 6 years, what do you think is the main ingredient for success in Asia?
Oh, that's interesting. I think persistence, for sure. What I can see from, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. He might not be agreeing with like anything that I said about this, but I think what I really admire about Mr. Chow is that I think he's always hungry for knowledge. That's something that I really learned from him. I think if it wasn't for him, I probably won't be thinking of
Going back to
school. No, honestly, I think, which I don't think he realized that. And I think, you know, he's always hungry for knowledge. And he, not only that, of course, he's very talented, and he's just one of those sort of natural born genius, which sort of comes in once in a lifetime, I think. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't work hard for it, though. You have to see his drive. His drive is always to create the best that he can. He won't settle for anything less than perfect. And he's always chasing that perfectionism that he has. And he has, you know, you can call it being stubborn, but he just wants the best out of everybody. He will probably push you to the limit, and you think, I don't have it in me, but you'll be surprised at what you can do. Like sometimes I think he challenged me that I felt like I didn't know that I can actually do that. But, you know, because he kept pushing and he keep on saying like, why can't you do this? Why can't you do it this way? And he always challenges different perspective as well, which is, I found it absolutely important to become a successful entrepreneur or successful in anything that you do. You always need to see different perspective. Don't just box yourself into one way of seeing things, because you're losing so many opportunities. And he's really good at seeing all these different opportunities that appears. And and also work hard, stay focused, and be very persistent and be very determined as well. But don't be afraid. I think one thing that I learned from my job is that, like I said previously, don't take no for an answer, and don't be afraid to fail. I think this is something that you really need to learn from my course anyways, because I'm actually taking this entrepreneurship planning courses. And one of the things that my professor said was quite profounding, was that don't be afraid to fail, which is very important, because we always see failure as, oh my God, I failed. Like, I feel like I can't do this. I've lost all my confidence because I failed. But you know, we can always learn something from failure. Don't look at it as failure. Look at it as what you can. It's a growth opportunity, because this is something that you don't know. This is why you can learn, and then you can grow. So I think, this is something that I think personally, I think this is all the things that I've learned from Mr. Chow and my professors.
So I mean, times are changing, but it's not changed fast enough. So we don't see a lot of women in leadership positions in Asia. Not as much as we would like. Do you think it's because of how society has placed a ceiling for women, or is it an invisible one that we placed on ourselves?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I think there's no doubt that I think, I think sometimes even myself, in all my previous job, I do feel sometimes that women need to work harder just to persuade people that we have actually got what it takes to do the same job. I think, it is there, but also because of that sort of stereotyping that women, we also kind of believe in it. Because there's a stereotyping, and because we believe in that stereotyping, we're sort of are almost like sort of also contributing to it, because not directly, obviously, not that we're doing it intentionally, but I think because we're also taught in a lot of ways when we were born as well, right? There's so many stereotyping for women. But I think now it's really good that we're changing. It's really funny. Just before I got this invitation, I was actually I was reading this article by Harvard Business Review on how this pandemic might reshape the notion of female leadership. Yeah, so like I can't, honestly, I can send you the article. I think it's quite interesting. So the article started off with mentioning, countries with women in leadership have suffered 6 times fewer confirmed deaths from COVID than countries with governments with men, lead by men, right? But I think more compelling story from this article is that despite the struggle of gender inequality over the past few decades, I think there is a silver lining that is brought from this pandemic, because, this group of talented female leaders might become the first, visible kind of role models for our new generations. Yeah. And, society might then become more accepting of leaders selected by, not by their gender, but not by their religious, not by their race, but actually, just focus on their intelligence, empathy, and also integrity, and also talents, right? I think these are the most things that we should look up to as a leadership, but not, like rather gender or things like that. So I think, for all the aspiring female creative professionals out there, I think, just honestly, don't be afraid to speak up your mind. Like, don't be afraid to share your opinions. Focus on your goal, share your talents with the world. And I think, but one very important thing is, don't forget to have fun and enjoy it while you're doing it, because sometimes we're so focused, we actually forgot to have fun while doing it as well, right? But I think for young professional, I would particularly say that because you're so young, try to focus, try to find your passion. I think something that my older generation, what my parents have told me is that, they didn't actually do anything that they're passionate about. It's just a job. It's just a mean to an end. But I think now that, we have this opportunity, I think we can all try to find our passion and see where we can contribute to the society, doing something that we love.
So one last question. Do you have any tips or encouragement for young female freelancers or solopreneurs or students who are aspiring to have their own, build their own business?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really, I'm not sure if I can really qualified at sharing any advice, but I think from what I would probably tell my younger self is that, seriously, don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. You can make lots of mistakes. It's fine. Mistakes is there to help you to understand your ability better, and where you need to improve on. So I think try as many new things as you can when you're young, and then find that passion. Once you find that passion, focus on it and build on it, and don't give up easily. Don't give up easily. Be persistent, and like I said, opportunities are for those who are well prepared. So prepare yourself and have fun while you're doing it. Don't forget to have fun, because that's what life is all about.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this week. Subscribe to our show Freelance Creative Exchange on YouTube. Check out our Freelance Creative Exchange website and join our Creatives at Work community on Facebook and Instagram. Have a wonderful week. Be kind. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.